Welcome to the Culture Climate on the Sister Speak Show. I am your host, Sister Speak. The Sister Speak Show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action. A talk show for great minds that create, inspire, impact, and evolve. Sister, spiritual inspiration shared through the arts. Sister, spiritual inspiration shared through Ayana. Sister Speak. Welcome to my first-time listeners. Welcome back to my faithful listeners. I want to thank everybody right now for the downloads rather, of my last two episodes. I really appreciate you all so much. Pretty soon we're going to be at 11K streams, downloads, and that is a blessing. Tonight, brothers and sisters, on the Culture Climate, we're going to get into it. On the Culture Climate, we cover topics that some people are afraid to cover in the village. And these topics are taboo. They deal with the enemies, and it just really deals with topics that a lot of people want to say, shh, be quiet, don't talk about that. And some of the topics that we cover on the Culture Climate really affect households in a major way, affect the village, affect individuals because of decisions, because of traditions, curses, thought processes, witchcraft, voodoo, things of these nature. All of this is incorporated, and sometimes mental illnesses are incorporated into why people don't want to talk about these things and why there seems to be more of a protection for the darkness and no emancipation for the light. Tonight's topics on the Culture Climate are going to hit home. They're going to affect many people. And here on this platform, we're not here to be quiet with you. We're not here to cover up and assist in the oppressive behaviors that affect so many people. No, we're not. We're here to provide solutions for the pollutions. Tonight on the Culture Climate, we're going to discuss paternity fraud. We're going to discuss paternity tests exposing the fraud. We're going to discuss women who lie about paternity. We're going to discuss child support scams. And we're going to discuss the village that protects the scandals. Yes, there are obviously clips to help aid with this education. This curriculum. Many in every state, country, there are men who are affected by this spirit, this lie, this entity that says, I'm going to lie on lineage because I don't care. This is not one of those episodes where it's Sister Speak. Women sometimes just don't know, and you have to give the benefit of the doubt. Once again, this isn't the show for you. You're going to have to go to a fluffier, lighter show that condones this behavior. This isn't the show for you. This is the show for people who have a passion for advocacy, who have a passion for justice, who have a passion for other people in the village. This is for the people who are looking for help, looking for solutions, as I said before, for the pollutions, a panacea, looking for some type of resource that they can seek, or resources that they can seek to aid them in coming out of what they are going through. You really think it's okay for women to lie about paternity? Are you actually have a justification on that? You couldn't possibly think that it's okay for a man to take care of children that are not his, and for him to believe that they are. You don't think it's okay for the biological father to know that these are his children, but just forsake them because he doesn't want to be entangled with the woman and all of what comes from how those two even hooked up in the first place. You don't mean to tell me you advocate for that darkness, do you? This isn't the platform for you. And whoa. We're going to get into it. Okay. Paternity test. A test that is taken to determine paternity. Need to know if this is the father, if this is not. We're going to establish paternity so this lineage can live in spirit and in truth. We have to take a paternity test because there is a question of who is the father and who isn't. We have to take this test because this child is growing up, or these children are growing up, and they don't look like anybody in the family on my side. We have to take a paternity test because an affair was exposed later on in life. And this man may be the father instead of you. We have to take a paternity test because in the middle of us fighting, you said that's why these kids ain't yours anyway. You slipped up. So many reasons why, everyone. And you'd be surprised where mandatory paternity tests are required. Oh my goodness, the research that is done. So with a paternity test, whether you swab or you go for blood, let me say this. All fathers have to be tested that are alleged. Any man that has slept with that woman in that time frame has to be tested. Not just one man, all men. If you can find them. I hope it's not that ratchet for you. But all men have to be tested, sis, brother. All men. If you ejaculated inside of this woman in this time frame, you could allegedly be the father. Not just one, all. I'm going to just pause on that. In this day and age, in this day and time with paternity tests, they have evolved. But we have seen, of course, and I've talked about this before, but we're going to get into it deeper. We watch, we don't watch. I hope you don't watch anymore, but, there's Paternity Court. There is Maury. That's what I was saying about not watching anymore, because a lot of that is just, whoa. But this whole, you are the father, you are not the father. Aha, I told you. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's not. Just all of these different reactions that come based on the results. And at the beginning of the day, some of these tests produce what's called a false positive. Just like a pregnancy test. A false positive, meaning that even though it says yay, it's really nay. And even though it says nay, it's really yay. Okay? But if you're not informed, if you don't do the work, if you don't investigate, then you could have the wool pulled over your eyes and you could actually be taking care of a child that's not yours. Children that are not yours. The scandals run so deep. So deep. Paternity test, at home paternity test, all these different type of access. Even Oh, of course you did. You listen to the Sister Speak show. I know you're an intelligent, wise audience. There are companies that you can buy a fake paternity test from. I paid for a paternity test for someone. And this is why I'm passionate about the truth. Nobody else. I did. So I own the right to have this conversation. In 2014, I paid for a paternity test. And this paternity test, and I'll leave all names anonymous. This paternity test was to determine some lies and some truths. And it was decided that it would be a blood test, although the other party only wanted swabbing done. And initially, the other party ran from even having this test done. Had a lot of issues and problems because the individual knew how deep and low they vibrate, and the behaviors that they expressed that led to this even having to even be a test. And once I was made aware that the individual was trying to have a swab, that was not what was paid for. A blood test was what was paid for. So there was one mix up with right there, just trying to work their way around the test. And there was a stop put to that. Then the other party that needed to test didn't show up. There are two parties involved, really three parties involved in this. And only one showed up. So there are two alleged out there that never tested. And in that, results came. And when the results came, they didn't come to our house. They arrived at the other party's house per their request, even though they didn't pay for the test. I had the test investigated because I know who I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with a low vibrating entity who plays with witchcraft and voodoo and who is very toxic. So I'd like to share with you all what your rights are when it comes to being able to investigate a test, being able to do work that is needed in order to emancipate yourself sometimes. So for everyone who needs to know, you do have a right to dispute. and you do have a right to investigate. So I want to read with you the following letter that was sent November 13th, 2014. I won't read the case number. From Discover. We finished our initial investigation regarding your disputed transaction of $700 from I don't know if I should say the place, and I'm going to I'll keep it that way, from this particular place. During our investigation, we notified the merchant of your request and asked him to respond. At the time, we have either not received a response from the merchant or the response we received did not validate the charge. Accordingly, we are resolving the dispute in your favor. We have adjusted the temporary credit we applied to your account to reflect it came from this particular lab place. And we have sent the merchant a second notice. You'll see this on your statement reflected as 2 transactions. This merchant is now allowed 45 days to challenge this decision. If within this time the merchant responds and provides us with information indicating the transaction is valid, the credit adjustment may be reversed. If this occurs, we will notify you in writing about the information we received. You will then have the opportunity to provide additional information if you wish to continue the dispute. We're glad you're a customer, and we want to make sure that you have the most rewarding relationship possible with Discover Card. If there's anything else we can do for you, please let us know. Sincerely, Discover Card Customer Service. I had the paternity test investigated, and the dispute was that the blood never left the lab and it was never tested. And here we are, and they investigated, and the lab had 45 days to respond and didn't. Received a second notice and didn't. That means that test does not exist, is void, is fraudulent. You can't use it to purport or extort. You have to go and pay for your own test. You have to be willing to gather all alleged fathers with your children, and you go and you settle this on your own dime and on your own time. What does not happen in this village, as long as I am walking and living and breathing and on my assignment, is that you will not, no woman will, have the opportunity to knowingly lie about paternity and then kidnap someone's liberty to cover up your scandal, your lies, or because this person has more money, or because this person is able to do whatever for you. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. You don't get the opportunity to use something that you didn't pay for and then was investigated. The charges, the dispute, and the reasons why I had this particular test investigated, and to discover that things were not tested. Blood was never tested, blood never left. So how could results even come up saying what they say? False positives. Okay? So something is off. There's that. That clears the air. I don't want to hear anything else about that. That had to be read out loud. You have a right to dispute. You have a right to investigate. You have a right to find out if children are yours or not. You have a right to know if this is your junior or not. You have a right, brother, to know if this is your little girl or not. You have a right to know. You have a right to want your children to look like you. You have a right to want your children to embody your essence in a better essence of yourself, a better vibration of yourself. You have the right to want your family to be intact. You have a right to want your children to have your last name and your last name really be your children's. These men have rights. So we're going to get into it. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about it. Why are their rights being violated? Why are they being overlooked? How is it that a paternity test can come out false positive and there are men walking around thinking that these are their children, but it's a false positive and there's no backup. And so they go around thinking that this is the truth, and it's not. You can't sit here and say, oh, my pregnancy test was false positive, and we all have no discrepancy of that. Okay, hey, it said you were pregnant, but obviously with this hemoglobin, with the blood test, it said that you're not. Okay, it gave off a false positive. These things happen. So they also happen with paternity tests. That's why. So when anybody questions how you know what you know and how things are what they are, first of all, consider the source. Consider the source, because sometimes you don't even explain anything to a fool. At all. You have a right to want to investigate if these are or are not your children. Child, you have a right, brother. And don't let anybody tell you that you don't. You have a right to a court-ordered paternity test. You have a right to that. You have a right to know. It is not right for you to go and watch that child come through that birth canal only for that baby not to be yours. Where's the help for that? Where is the help for the men who go through this trauma? There are advocates. There are agencies. Yes, this is a topic that we are going to speak about again because it's still happening. And somebody who didn't hear the last time this was talked about is going to listen this time. It's happening. So this is what it is. Brother, to the biological fathers who know that these are your children. You know you slept with this woman, but you walked away. And you let the next man be the scapegoat for your children. You vibrate low. You have no dignity, no class, and your kids look just like you. That's how good God is. He's smarter than any wicked individual. He's higher than any plan. So when you sit here and say, ooh, I'm going to get this man, I'm going to lie about these babies. When these babies grow up looking just like this man, the real man, what are you going to do? How do you hide it? And we can go further. We can look at the lineage, and we can add things up, and we can see what we need to see and say something is off. Something is off. And all parties need to be tested. Any man that lets another man pay for his children via paternity fraud. I'm not talking about anything else. Don't wear your hearts on your sleeves on this show. You don't have to listen. I'm talking about some real stuff here. I'm talking about setting things in order so things can be right. Any man that lets another man take care of his children and makes him pay child support for his children and allows that man to go through the hell and the torment and the trials and tribulations and has to endure your karma, what you should be reaping as a result of being with this woman and laying with this woman, you got some things coming your way. I'm sure they've already happening. You can't stop these children from looking how they look. They're going to come out looking exactly how they're going to come out looking. And as they get older, the truth just sits there and it stares at you in the face, but nobody wants to talk about it. And then you have DNA tests that are giving false positives when they should be saying 0%. Where's the justice for that? Where is the outlet for crying? Where is the justice for the liberty of the lineage to actually flow how it was genetically created to flow without these interferences and these surrogate and these imposters coming into the picture? Ayana, oh my gosh, how could you? You're talking about children here and this, that. Look here, lily pad. This isn't the show for you. I'm talking about these children grow up. I'm talking about these children become adults. I'm talking about these children end up having childhood trauma. I'm talking about some of these children have health issues and there's nobody that can help them because we're trying to keep this secret covered, and we can't go over here and expose the fact that if we do a blood test, then it's going to come out that you're really this type of blood type and not this type of blood type, and you can't help this child, and it's really this man over here can help. And now I got to reach out to this man and say, look, I know I haven't talked to you in 15 years, but I just want to tell they need a kidney, and I was no, we're talking about avoiding all that. We're talking about the young boys who we don't want to grow up being the victims of paternity fraud. If we're going to talk about the children. I'm not here for your emotions. I'm here for the logic of it. The vindication, the vengeance, the justice of it all. The fact that there are paternity tests out here that are not replicating the truth. And that you have a right to investigate. That you have a right to demand to know if this is your lineage or not. You have a right to call Junior in spirit and truth. You have a right to say daddy's little girl in spirit and in truth. My baby, my son, my daughter, my offspring, my flesh, mine in spirit and in truth. You are asking me and others who think like me to vibrate low. I'm not going to do that for you. I'm not going to get like you and think like you. These children grow up and become adults, and they have children. And for the men, for the males who carry on the last name of somebody else's, and it's not the real last name, that lie gets passed on over and over and over again if he has sons. So we're talking about generations of believing that they are A when they're really B. And you think that's okay? You make wisdom. I'll wait. I really won't wait because I don't have time for the effery. We've been waiting for too long. That's why this effery has gotten out of control. This has been going on for a long time. When technology started advancing, women started shaking in their boots. Oh my gosh, DNA technology is advancing. Oh my gosh, my secret's going to come out. No, your secret's out because your child looks just like the other man. First of all, what you going to do? Have them walk around with blankets on their face like Michael Jackson did with his children, in quotations? Huh? Even name one of them blanket. Seriously. Is that what we're going to do? Are we going to have them walk around with mask on? No. You're entangled, sis. It's deep. And you're nervous. Those of you who actually still have a little bit of consciousness within you and actually kind of care. But to the oh well females, oh well, you entities, this episode is for you. This episode is also for the woman who is tired of lying about it and is ready to tell the truth. Sis, I'm here for you too. Even though it's wrong what you did, you willing to tell the truth now? Good. You willing to get it off of your back? You willing for a change? You willing to do something different with your behavior? You willing to set people free? You willing to actually emancipate? Hey, kudos. I'll work with you. But you OLs, I'm gonna find you another daddy anyways. I'm on your head. My foot is on your neck because you're out of line. You're inappropriate. You're not conducive to the village. You're not conducive to righteousness. Nothing about you screams high vibrations. These little boys are going to grow up, have sons, and they're going to carry on the wrong last name. And some of you have a problem with that. Well, my stepdaddy took good care of me, and I'm not. This is not the show for you. It's not. That's not what we're talking about. Listen. This is a scandal. It's wrong. It has to be addressed, and there has to be a consequence for it. And if you have a problem with it, then you're a part of the problem, and return to sender. I'm not talking about anything else than what I'm talking about. So don't try to make an argument about something or try to have a rebuttal or refute when you're not listening. We're talking about paternity fraud. We're talking about child support scams. We're talking about women who lie on purpose. We're talking about communities who protect the liar and who shun the man who wants to be free. That's what we're talking about. We do the work over here. We actually care about the people in the village. We care about the minority in the village who are going through things that are major, even though they're the minority within the village, even though operating in a world that condones this behavior. There needs to be strong legislation about this. Women need to go to jail for a period of time for this crime. You're using sex as a weapon. You need to spend time behind. Somebody has to be the example. And a lot of people end up being the example. It's called street. I don't condone it, but it happens. It's called street justice. That's why I said I believe that you should just go to jail. Pay back that money. All of it. Any amount of money, pay back. But I've got something for you all. You thought I didn't? Y'all know I always got something for you. We're going to start this off with the video that made me say I've got to do another episode of this. And then we're going to move on into these clips. All these clips are provided off of YouTube. They are for educational purposes only, to provide insight, to provide wisdom, clarity, and solutions for behavior that plagues the village and creates low vibrations and harm and hinder liberty and justice for all. Thank you for listening to The Culture Climate on the Sister Speak Show. I will speak to you on the other side of these clips.
Carnell Alexander walked into the Frank Murphy Hall of Justice knowing in moments he could lose his freedom.
I stayed up all night, couldn't sleep, thinking about it.
Carnell is a wanted man because he refuses to do what the state orders and to pay child support for a child that DNA tests prove isn't his. A child he doesn't even know.
I haven't even had a chance to really speak to him, except for one time when we took the DNA test.
Nonetheless, right now, under the law, he's a deadbeat dad. Today, he turned himself in to the judge as ordered.
Scared, because I've been before this judge before.
But this time, he had attorney Cherika Harris, who volunteered to help after seeing his story on 7 Action News. The judge said he will not go to jail for today.
Thank you. Thank Ms. Harris. And hope that we can resolve this soon.
I'm just trying to help him with his future.
Though the threat of jail is on hold, it is not over. Carnell Alexander still owes more than $30,000 to the state for a child that's not his because...
Well, that clip was 1 minute. So, excuse me, everybody. With it being 1 minute, it was really supposed to go longer than that. So, the gist of it is, Carnell Alexander had to go to court because he was obviously paying for a child that was not his. $50,000 is a lot of money. And to have to pay child support when the DNA test says that you're not, and you're really not. And then for a system to be set up that says it doesn't matter. If you sign it, you're obligated to it. That's wrong. That's not justice. That's not true liberty. That's not right. Because I don't deal with the government in that aspect, I deal with the spiritual world. I know that justice is always, that there's a strong possibility for those who have been chosen for justice to be served for them, that justice will be served. But this man is going to court, having to fight about a child that is not his, and having to pay child support for a child that's not his. You make that make sense? It doesn't. You tell me, how do you even have any type of legislation or not set up to where a man is obligated to take care of a child if he signs the birth certificate, or if his name is even forged on the birth certificate, or a woman can go down and lie and say, oh no, he is the daddy. And then now we open up this entire realm of unfair actions taken against a man who is not the father, while the other man gets to go free? Nope. Not on God's watch. Maybe on the world's watch, but not on the Lord's watch. The Lord is always going to vindicate. His vengeance is always going to come through. I want you brothers to know this. Those who've been chosen, those who've been set apart, those who are seeking justice, you just know and understand this. When you're his child, when you have truly been chosen and set apart, he is going to vindicate you. Vengeance will come. He will expose. He will make it known. That woman will not get any rest. She will not have good days. She may think she's getting away with it, but she's not. In the spiritual realm, no, it doesn't happen that way. She may think in the earthly realm that she is, but no, spiritually, she's going to be attacked, and you will be vindicated. Keep praying, keep clearing, keep vibrating high, and keep calling on the Most High. That's the panacea for you. I don't want you to think that ever, even though this man is going through what he is going through, that you're going to turn out like Cornell Willer. And I hope that he is definitely vindicated. But I don't want you to think that justice won't be served for you. But I do want to say this. This is serious. This is why I advocate for those who are seeking change. Why celibacy is key. Why choosing to not engage is powerful. No woman should not know who the father of her children are. Having unprotected sex runs the risk of all things every time. I don't care what type of control you're on. I don't care what your pull-out method is. I don't care. Look, you're running the risk of many things. And one of them is being the victim of paternity fraud. One of them is being a perpetrator of paternity fraud. One of them is being or working for a principality that advocates for the woman who does this type of thing. Being a part of a principality that demands that you pay for children that are not yours and does not care. You're going to pay. Having to work in these principalities and be a part of a government that does not impose legislation against the crime, but imposes legislation on the man who has been the victim of the crime. That is not okay. And you think that justice won't be served? You think that the Most High God, who is the head of all principalities, doesn't have the power to stop that? There are men who do come out. There are men who have been vindicated. But what is the grand lesson in all of this? We've got to stop having so much sex. This has got to stop. A lot of you are having sex with women who you are ashamed that you had sex with this woman. You don't want anybody to know that this is your children's mother. These late night hookups, these early hookups, these noonday hookups. All of these things lead to now you're walking into court saying, look, the baby's not mine. And they're looking at you like, so what? Pay. Pay forever. All of your wages garnished. for at least 18 years and don't get behind. Now you have arrears. And this isn't even your child or children. You cannot tell me that that is okay. But if you are engaging in these type of activities, this can sometimes be the karma that happens, the reaping that happens. You sow a seed, you get a seed. Sometimes you sow a seed and you end up taking care of another man's seed. Because the lesson is pull back. It's not about pull out. It's about like literally like pull back, literally like pull back and freeze. Think about these things for a minute. What am I getting myself into with this female? Is this who I want to be my baby mama? Since some of you all are so juiced to say that word, baby daddy, baby mama. I mean, like, really, is this what you want? Your whole life is just to have a baby mama? And now you don't even know that she's out here playing hopscotch and, bouncing from dude to dude, and you are an alleged father, and really it's your homie's kid, but can't let that get out that these two had sex. So we just gonna keep this on. You're my little secret. We're gonna let escape play in the background, and that's how we should keep it. Okay? And we just gonna let him just feel like he the daddy. And now he over here looking through photo albums, trying to find out who this child favored because he doesn't see a resemblance. You think men don't have keen senses? Like, I don't think some women have considered this all the way through, this scandal, this scam, this lie. You haven't considered it all the way through. And so here it is. We have to go to court because the baby's not mine, but I still got to pay. And I might go to jail for that. I might go to jail for it. Now I got to sit on the witness stand and recount. But you keep saying it couldn't be anybody else's child. That's what you keep saying. But that's a lie. You know it's a lie. You know you slept with other men. You know you did. Why you keep telling that lie? You slept with other men. They ejaculated inside of you. You're trying to cover up your scandal. You're trying to have the one up. Still thinking that P is power, right? Some of you women will literally, I'm just going to give the game up. I mean, most of you men already know, but I mean, it has to be exposed. If a woman is in a relationship with you, sorry, I hope this isn't scratching. It probably is scratching. I dropped my mic. Apologize. If a woman is having sex with you and you all are in a relationship and she's tiptoeing with somebody else, and she goes and she has sex with this man, and let's just say she's even having sex more with this man than she is with you. After she has sex with this man and he ejaculates inside of her, she's coming to have sex with you next. Immediately. And you're going to have sex with her, raw, without a rubber, and you're going to ejaculate inside of her too. And that's how it begins. And when she gets pregnant, she's going to say it's yours because she's in the relationship with you, not with this guy. And like any typical baby mama, she's going to be so in love with her real baby daddy. And they're going to keep sleeping with each other. You're getting played, brother. And most men have so much ego that they never think that they can get played. Those are the ones who always get played. And you're going to get played by somebody who's lower than you in vibrations. Because that's going to be your teaching lesson. That's going to be your blackboard. That's going to be your dry erase board. That's going to be the curriculum that you need because you got to change. Everybody needs to change. paternity test fraud, exposing the truth. Child support scams, women who lie about paternity and the community that protects them. You are listening to The Culture Climate on the Sister Speak Show. I'm your host, Sister Speak, and we'll be right back after these commercial breaks.
Listening to the Sister Speak Show is even easier now with the new abilities available from Spreaker Skill on Amazon Alexa. With Spreaker on Alexa, you can now listen to the Sister Speak Show from even more places from all around the world. You also have navigation control, fast forward and rewind podcast to make sure you never miss a second of your favorite show. And then you can ask for show recommendations like the Sister Speak Show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action. A talk show for great minds that create, inspire, and evolve.
The April-May issue of the Speak Sister Speak mobile magazine is available for purchase now, and it is lit. Gracing the cover is poetess and fashion model Holly Maj. Get to know her, empowering the tongue of voice you need to hear. 411, they are ruining your life, establishing boundaries for narcissistic parents and exposing narcissism. Mental health awareness. These students are not going to get the best of you. Each one, teach one, surviving while teaching. 5 tips for a successful field trip. What's your smile language? Let's talk. Fixing your teeth for an improved smile on the upgrade. Booked and busy. Introducing Mayhem brand CEO Jermichael Breckenridge. On the tour, where we cover every aspect of the music industry, introducing Mont Music, an artist you need to know in 2021. 911. On the cultural climate, child support by way of paternity fraud. Who should pay? Speak Sister Speak, mobile magazine for all shades of brown people, where we promote articles of wisdom. It's time to magazine and chill. Sis, I saw this super fly top online at kklachey.com. It's perfect for your excited date. To see it. I need something that will complete my outfit. One thing's for certain and 2 things are for sure. When you shop at kklachey.com, you're going to find what you're looking for and more. These sexy tops are on sale for $28. Your outfit is going to be lit. When they ask you where you got it from, make sure you tell them it's kklachey.com. Welcome back. You are listening to The Culture Climate on the Sister Speak Show. I am your host, Sister Speak. It's a heavy topic, but we're going to get into it. You don't gain any type of strength by lifting the same weights that you've been lifting. This is not for the faint of heart. Strong language, strong content, strong thoughts, and I give 0 apologies for them. This is not for the people who are extremely emotional. This is for people who are the victim of it. This is for the people who see these things, but, can't find too many circles to talk about it because they'll be, quote unquote, shunned because they don't want to participate in the foolery and the effery. This is for the people who want to come out of it. This is for people who say, you know what, I'm tired of vibrating like this. I need to really do some clearing and some cleansing, and I'm ready to tell the truth. That's what this is about. This has to be, our village has to be able to have codes of conduct, right? And these codes of conduct cannot only relate to and benefit one set of people or one person. It can't. It has to be fairness and liberty that permeates the entire village, and it's a code of conduct that we all are willing to adhere and live by to protect and value what it means to have integrity and dignity, what it means to live in spirit and in truth, what it means to, keep things 100. It's a conscious effort to continue to say lineage is truth and power, and you can't break generational curses by lying about paternity. You can't break generational curses by lying on bloodlines, You can't. You're not winning. You're not a hero in any sense of the term by living this lie. These next set of clips are for educational purposes only. It's to teach, it's to make aware, it's for those who don't know and who want to know. It's for the naysayers. It's really just for the freedom of the truth, you know? These next videos, I know that there's a technical difficulty. I think in the third one there might be some repetition in the very beginning. And in the fourth video, you know, I live in Texas and it's the summertime and I had to swat. I had to swat a gnat. So you may hear a little slap, but you'll be okay. You'll be okay. Brothers and sisters, you're listening to The Culture Climate. I'm your host, Sister Speak. Thank you for hanging in there with me. We're going to learn about paternity fraud. We're going to learn about DNA testing. Excuse me. We're going to learn about the consequences of these actions. I must say this. Well, I'm not even going to say this. I'm going to say it afterwards. I want you to enjoy these clips, and I thank you for being a wise audience. I thank you for being a strong audience, and I thank you for advocating for the village. Shout out to everybody listening. Let's get into this.
Most people think DNA test results are correct. For 12-year-old Matthew Wilson, a DNA test showed his father wasn't his.
It broke my heart, I lost my dad and my best friend.
Let's rewind through Matthew's childhood back to the mid-90s. That's Matthew there on his dad Robert's shoulders. Here he is on his dad's lap. And this is the Father's Day card Matthew gave his dad that year. The two were close, but that all changed in 2001 when they took a DNA test. It was ordered by a Tarrant County judge as part of Matthew's parents' custody battle. To the family's surprise, the DNA test results showed there was a 0% chance that Robert was actually Matthew's father, shattering that close father-son relationship.
He was so confused. He was 12 years old.
That's Teresa, Matthew's mom. She spent years unable to answer questions from Matthew about his father.
And I blame myself for so many years over this.
But then, just last year,
my granddaughter did an ancestry test because she wanted to know if she was Scottish.
Oddly enough, the results from Teresa's granddaughter's at-home DNA kit revealed a genetic link between the granddaughter and Robert, the same man that a DNA test 20 years prior said was not a family member.
I remember sitting there at the computer just looking at it forever. I mean, for the longest time, I'm like, how could this be? Could this even be right?
A second paternity test from a different lab confirmed with 99.9% certainty that Robert was indeed Matthew's father all along. But by then, 20 years had passed and the damage was done.
I wish I could got to grow up with a father, but I didn't. They took that from me.
Matthew and his parents are suing the two companies involved in the original DNA test, DNA Testing Center and Louisville-based Biosynthesis. In court filings, the family alleges the two companies that took their DNA samples and analyzed them were negligent in obtaining, labeling, handling, testing, and reporting test results.
For 20 years, my son grew up not knowing who his father was. For 20 years, my son grew up angry. At some point, they need to take responsibility for what they've done.
Both companies declined our requests for an interview, but in court filings, the attorney representing Biosynthesis said there is no evidence that Biosynthesis was negligent. A DNA expert affidavit found inside the court file and obtained by WFAA shows the genetic profiles from the 2001 and 2019 paternity tests are entirely different. DNA experts say this suggests the family's samples could have been mixed up with another unsuspecting family's. But without help from the labs involved, we'll likely never know what happened inside the lab, because our investigation found that getting any information, like inspection reports on labs that conduct DNA testing, is nearly impossible. Unlike state crime labs that do forensic testing for criminal cases, labs that do DNA testing aren't inspected by the government. They're inspected by private accrediting organizations, which means they're allowed to keep their inspection reports private. A 2006 report from the Government Accountability Office found that oversight of U.S. labs was not sufficient to ensure lab quality. Bottom line, the doctors and patients who use DNA labs have no way of knowing when mistakes are made. But mistakes do happen.
Anyone that does laboratory science like I do knows you screw up. I mean, everyone screws up from time to time.
UC Irvine professor Dr. Lawrence Muller has been tracking lab errors in DNA cases for years. He says there's no way to quantify just how many errors happen each year, but the American Association of Clinical Chemistry estimates 13 billion lab tests are performed each year in the U.S. So even a conservative error rate of just 0.005% amounts to 650,000 botched tests each year.
I think they're much more common than people think. It's usually a failure of the humans involved in this technology. They do things like mislabel samples or switch samples.
The idea that her family's samples could have been switched with another family's is what keeps Teresa up at night.
It breaks my heart to think that, and I hope that that's not true, because I know what we went through as a family.
In Dallas, I'm Charlotte Huffman.
Together seen in recent years. Now, for a very long time, the court system, the legal system, all pretty much sided with females in pretty much all the matters, ranging from child support to divorce to paternity. But we're now seeing a change. For example, in Texas, they passed a law around 2011 saying making it easier for men who are paying child support to prove that they were not the father. Now, a lot of people think that, well, if you're not the father, you're not going to be paying child support, but that's not really how paternity works. See, paternity is a really big business all across the country. You know, in the state of Texas, they actually brought in $30 to $40 million in federal incentives. There was actually federal incentives based on child support. They actually brought in $3.2 billion overall, but they actually received federal money because of their child support program. So the more people they can bring in, more money they can bring in, the more money they get from the federal government. So that's an incentive for them to continue that. Fortunately, they passed a new law making it easier for men to challenge the paternity. For example, if they took a DNA test and they were able to prove that this is not my child, then, you know, they don't have to pay child support anymore. But the problem was it wasn't retroactive. It was just forward on. They said from this point on, you can do that. And they also gave people a period to come in and sort of claim that, you know, this isn't my child or something. I think it expires somewhere around September 2012. But of course, it's still unfair if it's not retroactive. You know, any guy who can come in with a DNA test to prove that he's not the father should not be forced to pay child support. But the way a lot of these states work is, you know, they don't really care whether the child is yours or not when they make you pay child support. They only care about bringing in that money. You know, for example, in a lot of states for a long time, they had it set up so that every child produced in a marriage was the responsibility of that man. So if a man married a woman and that woman cheated on him with like 4 or 5 different guys, and she had a bunch of kids with a bunch of other guys, but they were still married, that guy she was married to was legally responsible to take care of those kids. I actually came across stories like that. I think one was in Pennsylvania. I'll check. There's a lot of stories like that involving paternity, which is why I always wonder, how come we can't have mandatory paternity? You know, for example, going back to Texas, you know, this guy named Ray Thomas, he was angry because he wasn't able to get rid of the back child support. Now, even though he had a DNA test proving that he was not the father of this kid, he was dating this girl in '86. She got pregnant. He thought it was his kid. Well, eventually he found out when her hair, the child's hair started to turn red, that it wasn't really his kid. You know, so he ended up owing $50,000 back child support. And even though it wasn't his kid, that's still an issue you had to deal with. Like, why would you even have to deal with back child support if that's not your child? Another case, Reggie Jones, this guy is paying, I think as of 2012, last year, I read this article, he's paying, $1,400 a month for 2 kids that he proved with DNA tests were not his. A Dallas attorney, Dennis Fuller, said that there's around 128,000 men in Texas paying child support for children that are not theirs. So obviously this is not a rare occurrence, as some sociologists try to portray it. So why don't we have a mandatory paternity test in this country? As soon as a woman gets pregnant, there's a mandatory paternity test at birth. Period. You can get rid of all the problems right off the bat. And I think a lot of women, they may have sex with several guys, and they may decide that, well, this guy's the most reliable, so I'm going to say he's a father. I'm probably going to get a source of income from this guy. Although a lot of these guys, they don't take care of their kids at all. That's a whole other video. Guys who should be taking care of their kids. But in those situations, a lot of guys end up paying for kids that are not theirs. And if that happens, it's going to cost those guys a lot of money. Now, some sociologists actually pointed out that, well, this is rare and it'll be very costly. Well, I have a solution for that. Once a woman is born, once a woman has a child, it can be a mandatory paternity test, right? All right. She lets the system know who's the father. The father is summoned to come in and do the paternity test. If he doesn't, there's some type of penalty. There has to be a good way of actually locating the guy. But the guy comes in and takes the paternity test. If he's a father, he pays a fee for the DNA test. Okay, if he's not the father, then the woman has to pay the fee for the DNA test. I think that's a cost-effective way of really dealing with it. If the state is worried about having to pay for all these DNA tests, I think that's fair, because if you bring a guy in saying that, oh, you're the father, and it turns out he's not the father, I think it's fair for you, the woman who just had a kid, to have to pay that fee for bringing in a guy who clearly wasn't the father. If she doesn't know, then she's going to be in big trouble. But I think that would incentivize people to sort of act a little bit more responsible. So I think that with a mandatory paternity test, you can get rid of a lot of problems we're facing right here. A lot of these problems are ignored because they affect men more than anything, and a lot of these court systems, a lot of the laws in general are geared towards protecting women, but a lot of times it's at the expense of the rights of men. So what do you guys think? Should we have a mandatory paternity test in the United States? If so, why and how can we go about doing it? If not, tell me. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Don't forget, the future belongs to those who prepare for it today. Bye.
My name is Harvey Tenenbaum, Director of Laboratory Operations for Viagard Acumetrics. And today we're going to talk about DNA and its relevance to society, individuals, governments, and a whole range of other related issues. 20 years ago, in the laboratory business, the word DNA was a vague concept. The word DNA was a vague concept that people talked about as being something for the future. 10 years ago, DNA became a reality, but the technology, the precision, and the costs were still relatively prohibitive. Today, with the advances in technology, laboratory sophistication techniques, and the economics, DNA has become a tool that can be used for a wide variety of purposes. It's used in such things as paternity testing, forensic work, and identifying the genetic component that's linked to virtually every disease known to man. Today, we're going to talk about one of the very important areas in our business as it relates to the public and our clients, DNA paternity testing. With the advent of DNA paternity testing, there's been incredible transparency in who is the biological father of a child and establishing relationships, siblings, uncles, grandparents, etc., between people. Today, very simply, using buccal swabs, that is, swabbing the inside of two cheeks, provides the perfect cellular sample for DNA extraction, more accurate and viable than even blood. So when a client comes to our laboratory, we take buccal swabs from the father and, as is often the case, buccal swabs from the child. Painless, simple, takes a couple of minutes. But by swabbing the inside of the cheeks, we're obtaining a rich deposit of epithelial cells for extraction and analysis. That material is extracted and analyzed in the most precise manner. I happen to be sitting in front of one of the most important advances in DNA technology in the past number of years. It's an AIB 3780 sequencer, the heart of identifying and sequencing DNA. With equipment like this, you're guaranteed total clinical precision and in an expeditious manner. Tests that took weeks and months, not so many years ago, are done today in several days with more precision, much more economy, and the results are available in a meaningful period of time. A test that years ago could perhaps cost $1,000 or $1,500 is routinely done by us for DNA clients for $249. That's a remarkable advance in technology and economy considering the clinical precision of the results. Now, the tests can be done for informational purposes. Somebody just wants to confirm in their mind, am I in fact the biological father of this child? But often there's a legal aspect, and tests have to be done for court purposes. There's disputes in custody, maintenance payments, and a whole range of issues. In that case, the client comes to our facility, and we will take photos, ID, fingerprints, and do the sampling and the tests. The finished document is court eligible and will stand up to absolutely any scrutiny and has never been challenged. Our tests are available remotely, and in fact, samples come in from all over the world. You can order a DNA sample collection kit. There's no cost for sending you the kit, and the kit contains the instructions for collecting the cheek swab samples from the father, the child, or any of the people involved in the test. Payment is made when you remit the samples to our facility for analysis. Furthermore, we can provide with those samples where you need court legal documentation, remote legal chain of custody forms that are filled out by an observer who states their name, identifies themselves, and verifies the fact that they saw the samples taken, took possession of them, personally got them mailed. The two questions courts ask are A, are we sure as to the origin of the samples, and B, could there have been any tampering? Both in our facility and remotely, we have the processes in place that ensure compliance with court requirements. So if you're in a situation or for whatever reason you require a DNA paternity test, your first call should be to Viagard Acumetrics. Tests are widely available from us, plus we are able now to offer prenatal paternity determination. When the mother crosses the 13-week gestational period, fetal DNA is in her bloodstream, and by taking a small sample of venous blood, we isolate the fetal DNA and compare that to the father. So there's a whole range of DNA issues, including sibling relationships, grandparent relationships, and others. The world of DNA has transformed society into a much more honest and transparent scenario. It has definitely worked to the public's knowledge and advantage. Thank you.
And it's been a while, eh? Yeah, okay, so there is this story that is online about a woman that was beaten black and blue by her husband because of an alleged DNA test that proved that the man is not the father of her children. Okay, so on BBC Ghana, I found a report that kind of confirmed what actually happened. So the report has it that the lady and her husband had been married for a while, and the husband lives in Canada, the lady in Nigeria. The lady has been having children for him, unbeknown to the man that the children that this lady has been having are not his. And unfortunately, this man has been spending on this woman and her children and believing that the children are his. But faith ran out on the woman when the husband applied for Canadian immigration or residency for them. And she forgot that in Canada, for you to move your family to Canada, you have to do a DNA test to prove that the children are actually yours. So unfortunately for her, this is Canadian embassy thing. You cannot do the test elsewhere. You cannot fake it. Canadian embassy will direct you to the hospital where the DNA test will be done so that you can't forge anything. So the children went for the DNA testing and result came out, and it happened that the children are not her husband's children. Unfortunately for her, the man was in Nigeria when they got the result. So the man went out of control and beat the woman black and blue. In fact, he beat her so bad that she lost 4 teeth. 4 teeth. And social media has been going gaga because of both the beating and what the woman did. Some people are busy kind of in favor of the woman. They were like, oh, maybe the man cannot father children, maybe there is something wrong with his ability to reproduce, and for that reason the woman is trying to cover his ass by sleeping around to have children for him. And some people are like, no, the woman deserved the beating. She should not have done it, even if she tried to do such a thing. Not 3 kids, you know. And other people were like, the man saw so many ladies in Canada. He probably may have slept with many of them, befriended many of them, dumped them, went to Nigeria to marry virgin and bring over to Canada. That is what he deserves. So guys, this is such a disappointment on the side of the women, especially Nigerian women that have their husbands abroad. It is such a huge disappointment that you will have your husband abroad and still be sleeping around, to the extent of having children in the relationship. She's not afraid of contacting HIV or any kind of STD, because that could happen. Because for her to get pregnant 3 times for another man in her husband's house, that means she is sleeping with whoever that she was sleeping with unprotected. She did not fear that she's being unfaithful. She did not fear that she will contact STD. She did not fear that Canadian embassy will force them to do DNA tests for those children before taking them to Canada. You know, some people think that Canadian immigration is stupid, they are foolish, the visa is so easy. But what I always tell people is try and apply, then you will know. Because people that are living in Nigeria, they think it's so easy. After all, that person went and this person went and that person went. You think it's so easy. Canada looks easy, but to enter Canada and live a peaceful life is not that easy. Because they have their stipulation, they have the rules and regulations that you must follow. They don't change it. They don't mix words. If they tell you that if this is the case, that will follow. They will do exactly what they said. They know they shake. They know they chop prime. So it is quite unfortunate. And for this guy that went home and battered his wife, he better pray that he's not in the healthcare field. He's not in the human services field. Because if this picture and this video or the report gets to the Canadian authority that that woman was beaten the way she was and she lost teeth in the process, the man will also be in trouble. Because in Canada, if you want to work in the human services or in the healthcare system or in the healthcare aspect of the workforce, you will not have any kind of crime in your record. Because as far as Canada is concerned, beating that woman or even fighting is a crime. So the two parties are in trouble. The woman is in trouble. She might not likely join her husband in Canada because it will take the man accepting those children and asking Canadian immigration to waive whatever result they got and adopt the children, because he will have to adopt those children as his before he can bring them over to Canada. Or he will abandon them in Nigeria. So the woman, for her to come over, the man has to go through the process of adoption, and that will take a long time. Another problem that they might have is that the man, if his company where he's working to come across the picture circulating on the social media on how he battered his wife, he may lose his job. And if he is in the healthcare field or social or humanity or social human science or whichever thing where he has to serve people or human beings, he might likely lose his job as well. And if you have one criminal record, it might affect your ability to survive in this country. So the two parties are in trouble. Both the beater and the beatee, if that is a word, both of them are in trouble. So guys, pray for this woman because she needs healing both physically and spiritually and psychologically. And also the man needs healing, because if actually this happened, if it is a true story, if it is real, that man is battered and shattered. He is heartbroken. No man can take this kind of report lying down. No man can take having raised another man's children thinking that they are yours for many years and take it lying down. No, nobody can do it. It is such a messy situation. The man needs healing because he is in such a heartbroken state now, I can tell you. He needs healing, both physical healing, he needs psychological healing. The woman also needs healing, both physical healing and psychological healing. I pray that God will help them. I pray that they look for the face of God, especially the woman. If the report is true, I mean, she went too far. 3 children, not even 1. 3 children. Only heaven knows if she has an STI. May God help us. Thank you guys for watching. What is your opinion on this matter? Please let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to click the like button, share the video if you don't mind. Come back for more. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
For all my family and friends out there, I just got some bad news. There's too many of y'all. I can't call everybody, so I decided to make this video. I'm finna get this girl a call. What's up? I got some bad news. So I decided to get a DNA test on Mika. The DNA test came back, and I just found out I'm not Mika's dad.
Come on, I'm not lying.
I'm so serious. The papers is right in front of me.
Well, them can't be no like this.
How could you do something like this to me?
Do what?
You know what? I've been in this baby life since she was born. I signed her birth certificate. How could you do this to me? I went to her K-5 graduation. I was there. And you laughing and you think it's funny? No, I'm not playing. This is so serious. Why would you do something like this to me? So you've been sleeping behind my back? You had me thinking that she was my baby for 7 years? And I feel like you're making jokes about this whole situation when this is serious. I'm so hurt right now. I can't believe you would do this to me. I was there when she lost her first tooth. I help her with her homework. We spend so much time together, and you still lying on his phone when a DNA test came back and said I am not the father? I can't believe you would do something like this to me. All right. You know something? You know something? You wrong. You so wrong for misleading me like that for all these years. I'm so hurt right now. But it's cool. You want to take everything as a joke? Karma's gonna come back to you.
You are listening to the Sister Speak Show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action. A talk show for great minds that create, inspire, impact, and evolve. Welcome back to the Culture Climate on the Sister Speak Show. I am your host, Sister Speak. Tonight we are covering topics that some people don't want to talk about in the village. Paternity tests, exposing fraud, women who lie about paternity, child support scams, and people in the village who cover up the scam. The scandal. I said the scam. Those clips were powerful, weren't they? I do my research. I want to make sure that you have the education that you need to verify, to confirm real life situations, those who work in the DNA lab testing industry, the results of what can happen when you lie. Two extremes that I wanted to portray for you all, two perspectives on how to handle it and how not to handle it when it comes to finding out that you are not the father. Just wanted to show you there's a righteous way and a wrong way to handle it. I am not excusing the rage and the emotions, but I do not condone you putting your hands on her at all. Not you. Now, if you got a couple of sisters who, are got them hands, it may happen like that. I mean, not condoning the violence, everybody, but we're not going to sit here and play patty cake. We're going to sit here and really say that some of the results end up in you're going to be handled in a violent manner. You may be jumped. You may even be murdered. And that's not how these situations need to be handled, but that's how they get handled. Because you're playing with somebody. You playing a deadly game when you knowingly commit paternity fraud, when you knowingly premeditate who you're going to choose as the better father. You playing a dangerous game. You're playing with fire. Not only hellfire on earth, but we're talking about a spiritual fire. You're playing with games. You're saying to yourself that I'm willing to leave my children as orphans. I'm willing to let my children go through the system because I might get taken out of here playing with this game right here called paternity fraud. It doesn't end well for every woman. Every woman does not escape. No woman escapes. Let me just say this out here. No woman escapes. Only women that turn it around are the women who decide to confess and be honest. The ones who say, enough is enough. I want to do different. My energy is low. It needs to be high. This isn't righteous. I am changing my ways. I don't want to be this way anymore. I want to tell the truth. Those are the women who come out of it. Yes, there still are repercussions, but to tell the truth versus to try to get away with it for your entire life, 45 years later, 35 years later, 10 years, however, just to think that I'm going to get away with it. You are riding down a freeway with no seatbelt on, going 220 miles per hour. Yes, even if it's in a Kia or if you're in a BMW, it doesn't matter what you're riding, sis. You are in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone right now. The danger zone just isn't a song. It's not just a place that only happens to the other people. If this is where you are the moment you say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to lie about this, I'm going to play this game. It's the, oh, well, you're in the danger zone. It's the, he'll never find out, he'll never know. You're in the danger zone. If this man has to go and pay for these children and his money is taken every month, his hard-earned money, and now he can barely make it, he can barely eat, he can barely survive because of it, that you are in the danger zone. You're in it. Getting the government involved to perpetuate your secrets and your lies because you don't want anybody to find out how loose your goose is. I mean it, you're loose. You are loose. And you don't want anybody to know it. So you're gonna get the government involved and lie on this man over here. Just so you can get welfare and food stamps. Because you know you can't get it without acknowledging that there is a father. Oh, and also, you're in the danger zone if you forge signatures on birth certificates. You are in the danger zone if you forge the Declaration of Paternity. I'm talking to you sisters today. You women today. I'm speaking to all shades of brown people who listen to the Sister Speak show who are engaged in this foolery right now. And you're not trying to come out, but you're still listening to the show. I'm speaking to you. You're in the danger zone. You bathe in lava every day. That's not body wash, sis. That's lava. That's not shampoo. That's lava. That's not conditioner. That's lava. Lava. You're in the danger zone because you want to do this. You sisters who use witchcraft and voodoo and play with that black magic to bind these men, to keep these men in this situation, to keep them from not leaving, to keep them having sympathy for you, all these spells that you use to keep these men bound to your children when they have the right to walk away, when you keep them in a situation where they are stagnant, where you have attacked all parts of their mental aspect with witchcraft in order to keep them in this situation, to keep your lie going. You are in the danger zone and there are so many towers coming from you. You got lava all over your body. That's not lotion. That's lava, sis. You've been exposed. How dare you women play with witchcraft to keep this lie going? How dare you women play with spells, voodoo, witchcraft, black magic, and all of that low vibrating entities, all of those principalities to perpetuate and then to come against true birthright and lineage. You are in lava. You're in the danger zone. You know how petty you have to be to play with birthrights, lineages, to lie, to cheat, to steal, to extort. Some of you even will talk mess about the man because some of them won't even take care of those children. They don't want to be bothered. And then here you go playing with that witchcraft, or here you go just going out slandering their name and they're not even the father. You're in the danger zone. Trying to create sympathy and going around the village trying to sell a story. You are in the danger zone. You are all the way crooked. How do you think that's going to end? What are you saying about your own children? Why would you do that to your children? Why would you put them in a position to believe? Huh, woman? Why would you put them in a position, women, woman, sis, whoever? Why would you put them in a position to believe a lie and have a last name that's not truly theirs? Why? Why would you call him Junior when you know this ain't Senior? Seriously, what are you thinking? What are you trying to cover up? How is it going for you? Oh, I'm sure. I got this in the bag. He'll never know. All this magic I'm doing, look at him. Every time I call him and I sit here and I use the kids as a pawn, look at him. He come crawling because he is a sucker for these kids. That's what some of y'all really say. You are a freaking low-vibing human. Like, what is your purpose on earth? What are you here for, man? And some of you sit here and you are in the church. But you play with this witchcraft and you do this to these men. You're not calling on the Most High God. You're calling on demons and entities. You say the same things over and over and over again. And then you sit here and you perpetuate this lie. You're in the danger zone. You're in it. You're not winning. You lost when you started. You think that the Most High God can't see? You think the Lord wears Ray-Bans? You think the Lord got on stunner shades? Huh? You think the Lord can't see? You think the Lord slumbers? You think the Lord is never on his post? He's not on his P's and Q's? Oh, you think the Lord is not all-knowing? Oh, okay. Yeah, I knew you weren't a real believer, because if you were, your thought process would be different. Now I'm speaking to you, women, because you're in the danger zone, because you think you got it all covered up. The eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun. Bible. Maybe you need to pick up the Apocrypha and figure out some things and get some missing pieces together and understand what's really going on. Too much meat for you, though. You can't handle it. You can't get mad about somebody saying this is not right when it's not right. You're in the danger zone, playing with these men, having them come up here. My water just broke. The baby's coming. You sitting all at the baby shower, knowing your mama probably know, your aunties probably know. And if he's smart, he'll look around and he'll be like, dang, where are the men? But that's a whole nother topic. Shoot, they probably ate the spaghetti, bruh. Took them on out of here. And probably downstairs with cords all around them because these women over here play with that voodoo. I'm just saying, eat that spaghetti if you want to. Drink that red Kool-Aid if you want to. I'm serious. Y'all think this is a joke? It's not a joke. People do this. Women do go through some desperate measures to keep men, and this is one of them. I remember watching Love and Hip Hop with Alexis Sky, and Alexis Sky kept saying Fetty Wap was this kid's baby. I mean, was the father of her child, and kept saying it. Turned out he's not. It's another dude. It's another guys. How many people are you sleeping with in a day? How many? How many men are you letting ejaculate inside of you to where when this child is born, you're lying and it could be anybody's, right? But most of you know. And then the test, DNA test, not being faulty, investigations being done, but you can't release the inspection reports because it's a private company do the inspection, so you don't know what's really going on. And test saying yay when they say nay, when it should say nay, and saying nay when it should say yay, and all of the people that are affected by all of this, the mistakes from the lab. The lady, the women signing and saying on birth certificate, just naming any old body. Some of you would say dead people were the daddy if you could, and some of you do. But at what point are you going to realize you're in the danger zone? You're in it. That you bathe in lava daily. Your children growing up believing that this is their father. And you know the truth. You know it. And you thought if you said this is Junior, that could really cover it up. You thought that you could perpetuate this lie, but your children are suffering because of your neglect. And instead of the legislation being balanced, instead of the proper placement of political laws, ordinances, legislation, and penalties, and seeing that this is a crime, perpetuating the fraud, co-signing on the fraud, having sympathy for the predator, having no sympathy for the victim, forcing a man to take care of children that are not his is wrong. You'll never make it right. You will never have a piece of sentence, paragraph, essay, any type of anything that anyone would ever say to me and anybody who vibrates high that is right. It's not. Proving. I'm talking about a real test. I'm not talking about one where you can dispute it and get your money back because it was found out to be something was faulty going on. I'm talking about a real test. Number one, the first test is these children look like this man over here and his family. You can see it with your eyes, but you got these people over here that vibrate low that want to play games. But taking a real test. Excuse me. Excuse me for that, brothers and sisters. I knew that was going to happen. It's allergy season, sinuses. Please forgive me. I'm going to try to really edit that out. But anyway, I think my throat chakra just became unblocked. Thank you, Lord. That's what that was. But being able to perpetuate this lie and making a man pay money after proving that this DNA test showing he's not the father. And you're going to still make him pay. Danger zone, lava to the corporations that are making so much money off of this. It is not okay. Cis woman I'm going to say this to you. And this is probably going to be the part where you get an attitude if you already don't have one. But if you have an attitude and you're still listening, hey, that's on you. It is what it is because you're wrong. You need to keep your legs closed. I'm serious. You use your vagina recklessly. And you're having children recklessly. And you don't care about their value. And you're not valuing what it means to have a child. You are setting your children up for immediate failure. You need to stop having sex. I don't care how thick you are. Excuse me. I don't care how pretty you are or not. I don't care how many followers you do have or don't. I don't care anything about all of that. Close your legs. Put some Gorilla Glue on it, like I said in the last session, so it don't move, it don't open. You're now going to walk around like you're in a potato sack race. Keep them legs closed. Enough is enough. To the sister that wants to change, this is how I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this to every woman who is in the middle, is right now currently committing paternity fraud on a man or several men. Defrauding the government, extorting money from this man and that man. It's time for you to tell the truth. It's time for you to tell the truth. It's time for you to confess. It's time for you to tell this man the truth. These men the truth. Now, only some of you are going to do it. Excuse me. Only some of you are going to do it. Now, to the ones that are going to do it, that means you want to change. You're looking for a new start. You're the ones who are supposed to be delivered and set free. You're the ones who it was meant for you to change. It was meant for you to learn this lesson, teach other women about what not to do, because all hope is not lost. Some will change, some won't. I'm going to always say that. So for you, you have an opportunity to change because you got to confess, though. You got to keep it real. The children need to know. Everybody needs to know. And there's a way that it can be done. I can't tell you how to do it. It's for you to seek out your own escape route. My only thing is to tell you is that you can come out of it. You can tell the truth. It's time for you to tell the truth. So it doesn't slap you in the face. I know it's already slapping you in the face. I know you're not resting. I know you're nervous. Those who care. Those who realize they've made a mistake. Not the ones who say, oh, well. I'm talking to the ones who still vibrate, who have the potential to vibrate high. You can come out of it. You're going to have to find your own way to, not necessarily escape it. That's probably the wrong way. But you're going to be able to find a way to be free from what you did, with not as much harsh realities and actualities that come with the confession versus somebody who ends up getting 4 teeth knocked out. It's doing the right thing. It's, if this man is on child support, it's going down there voluntarily, picking up that piece of paper and saying, I would like to close this child support case. It's even about, hey, maybe setting up a payment plan to where you can start paying back that money, that was sent out. And some men will say, you know what? You don't have to do that. But some courts may say you have to do that. It just depends on what type of favor you may be able to pull forward as a result of you wanting to do the right thing now. Because that is the right thing to do, to go down there and close the child support case. Some of you were meant to come out of it because you're here to be a warning to other people, to teach young girls, hey, look, we don't play with paternity. We don't play with men like that. We don't do that to brothers. We don't do that to men. We are honest about our children. We know who our children's fathers are. We don't play games with child support. We don't lie on birth certificates. If we end up having to get on welfare or food stamps, we don't just throw out names just so we can receive assistance. We don't do these things. And this is why. Let me tell you my story, and let me tell you how good God is. But let me tell you my story and how I was convicted on taking advantage of somebody by misrepresenting the identity of my children, which is the true definition of paternity fraud. That's that glory that God gets. That is how, man, that's how you turn something that was meant for evil into something magnificent and good. That's how I said, like I said on my show, I will provide solutions for the pollutions, and I will not sit here and just lay down and die to the effery that is created by these women who play in lava. I am going to be able to say, sis, yes, you can come out of it, because the Lord has set apart those who are in that to come out of it, and to come out of it with not that much bruise, not that much battering, but just with refinement and with a new sense of purity. Okay. The Lord is still working. He still provides testimonies. He still provides messages, and he is able to set the captives free. I don't decide who stays in, who stays out. I'm here to give a message. I'm here to deliver the news, whether you like it or not. It's a sensitive subject, but that's just what it is. Get you something that's hyperallergenic so you can actually handle what we're speaking about, because it's going to come forward. That's like when I started coughing right at that moment, because I'm learning about chakras being blocked and unblocked. That was a throat chakra. I had to hit pause and let that out. I had to expectorate that. But that is the truth coming out, because we have to set the captives free. We have to be able to say that we're not going to sit here and put men as if men were created last. We're not going to sit here and deny the order of gender. I'm not a feminist. If you are, you really need to get off of this channel. I don't do that. I don't deal with systems that infiltrate my village, my people, and how things are supposed to go, teaching us wayward thoughts and principalities and how to be and how to act that will divide and continue to conquer the black family, the brown family nucleus. No, ma'am, no, sir. You can take all your witchcraft, your spell, your voodoos, and you can go on somewhere and we return to sender. When you say that a woman has a right to do what she wants, it's her body. She does not have a right to sit there and lie about the paternity of children. You can't make it be right. It's a spiritual felony. You know what that means, right? Felony. That means that this woman is a felon in the spirit. Get it in your brain. And because you vibrate low, you can't even get to where we're talking about. You're not even invited, because you sit in entities and organizations that allow women to continue to do this effery. And I don't. So men have the right to be free. They have a right to have their own children. They have a right to have their own family. They have a right to have children that are theirs, that have their right last name. They do. It's called order. It's called birthright. It's called how the Lord set it up. So anybody who's against that, you are fighting against the Most High God, and that's on you. You can never make that be right. So don't play these games, especially when the baby's father, the real baby's father, is right around the corner, or in the pulpit, or in the pew, or in the office, or in the school, or right down the street. Don't play these games. We're not doing the "you're my little secret." And that's how we should keep it. We're not doing that. Your children have a right to have good mental health. They have a right to be able to know what type of illnesses or diseases come from both sides of the family. How come they get to know how come you get to be the real mama, but he doesn't get to be the real daddy? What's so special about you? Why do you hate men so much that you play these games? Yeah, I'm calling you a man hater because you have to hate men to do this. Child support is not a paycheck for you. Let's get into it. Child support scams. Let's get into it. That money's supposed to be for your children, okay? So therefore, when that money comes, it's supposed to be for your children, and use it for your children. And the right man should be paying for the right children. And there should never be any law that says otherwise, but there are. So my question to those who are making the laws, who set up these type of protocols, processes, ways of having to do things, why would you even make it be that way? Why would you just sit there and say, if you sign the birth certificate, you're responsible? If you're married to this woman and and if she has children inside of the marriage, you're responsible for them, even if they're not. How? Make it make sense. You can't. Why would you even let that be what permeates in the atmosphere, even be something that is even navigating and even creating a way for this lie and these lies to continue to affect and plague the world? Why are you okay with paternity fraud? Because that's what you're saying. It's in your sign language. When you sign the document, sign language is just not hand communication. It is your sign language says, I'm going to sign this into law and this is what it is. But these men are not the father and they don't have to take care of these children. That's the truth. How could you say that they have to and make them give up money for 18 years and pay for another man's sperm? Something is off about that. And you know what it is. You don't care. You're apathetic. You like to see the destruction of the communities, the villages. You like to see the dismemberment in the spirit of the physical, of the connection in the spiritual connection between man and woman. Brothers and sisters, what is the problem? Why did you sign that into legislation? Why is that law that a man, although he is not the father, is still responsible? No, he's not. That is incorrect. Some men are sleeping in their cars. Some men are seriously thinking about killing themselves. Some men are so sad and so depressed because they loved these children. And now their trust has been shattered. Their belief system is being questioned. How could I be deceived? How could I allow this to happen? And I'm trying to leave. But as the moment I try to leave in the middle of the night and I lit up the garage, there she is with the kids holding their hand talking about, no, you're not going anywhere. And if you think you are, I got some principalities that are going to back up all of these lies. So you can go ahead and put that car back in park, and you can take your duffel bag, and you can go ahead and put it in the closet. As a matter of fact, you can't even sleep in the bed with me. You're going to sleep downstairs, but I'm going to let you know you're never leaving. I control this. Well, it's because I use witchcraft. I got cords all around you. I'm binding you to this. You're not leaving. I own you. Not only do I own you, the government owns you. Child support fraud. That's a hustle. And to you men, you know that these are your kids. You know it, and you watch another brother take care of your children, like I said before, and pay for your children. You got a day coming. You are one of the most sickest, let me start over. You are one of the sickest individuals. You and that thing, that woman that you vibrate with. Some of you are in it together. Keep it a secret. Keep it a secret. I'm going to slide you some cash on the side. Some of you women are collecting money from 3 men at one time. There's no crime against that, though. Government, I'm just asking. There's no crime against that. Extortion. So she can collect money from 3 men and from you all at the same time. You're not going to do anything about it, because if he signs a certificate, he's just the father, and that's just what it is. You don't feel like there needs to be any type of political reform, any type of local and national reform on how men are treated when they are the victims of paternity fraud, and how women need to be prosecuted and spend at least, make the first example be 3 to 5. But then you're taking her away from the kids. Somebody has to be the example. I'm going to always say that. Get it together, and then you don't have to have these problems. Don't come at me and talk about the after effect. We're going to talk about the before effect. She did it. Somebody's going to have to be the example. So other women will think twice before they go merry-go-rounding. Protecting these women, you people in the village who protect these women, the mothers of these women, the aunts of these women, the friends of these women who protect the lie, you are just as scandalous, and the blood is on your hands as well. Generations of paternity fraud. Oh, that's how we do it, girl. We just spin around in a circle. We just put a blindfold on, and whoever, our finger lands on, that's the daddy. That's just how we do it. We just choose daddies. And when one daddy leaves, we go find another one. That's just what we do. Oh, okay. And next thing you know, they're pulling up that spell book, and they're doing witchcrafts, and they're paying for practitioners and all this other stuff to keep these men bound in this situation. Sometimes they'll even create scenarios and try to make their children sick just to make the man come over there and have to spend the night. Sympathy spells, Munchausen syndrome, where they make the children sick on purpose. So we have to go to the hospital together, and crazy. Because some of them are sleeping with people that they're not supposed to be sleeping with. And so they have to cover up the lie. The village covering up the lie, protecting the woman. Sometimes the mother of the non-biological father will team up with the woman. Force their son to be with this woman, and force their sons to raise these children. You women suck. Shame on you. You're karmic. You vibrate low. You mothers who help these women do this to your own son. That's probably because you've done it to your own, to their father. Their father might not be the father of your sons. Women who can side with these women and women who can protect these type of women, there needs to be a paternity test done on your children, your son. Your son's father needs to test and see if your son's father is really your son's father. That's what I say about that. There's no way my son could ever come to me and tell me, mother, I do not believe that this is my child. Yes, I slept with her. Yes, I ejaculated inside of her, mom. I know I had no business doing it, but I did. But mom, I really don't feel like this is my child. Okay, well, who else do you think she could have been with? This, that, and the third. No, we're going to have a meeting. We're going to have a meeting. I am going to be wise in counsel. I'm not going to sit here and force my son. I am going to make sure that this is the truth. And if he's not, I'm going to, as Mr. Samuels would say, I'm going to bid you a good day. There is no, oh, that's my grandbaby anyway. No, this is not. And you all can have a nice day. My grandchild will come when my grandchild comes. I don't care how cute that child is. I love babies, but they grow up to be humans. Well, babies are humans, but they grow up to be real live people. Well, babies are real live people. They grow up. They become adults. Okay? We're not going to play these games. So all that cuteness and all that stuff wears off and reality and actuality sets in. I don't have to sit here and be a grandmother if I'm not a grandmother. I don't have to be an auntie if I'm not an auntie. I don't need to force this child into my life. I don't need to force my child into the life. I don't need to feel sorry for you. But the next thing you know, here you are putting spells on people to make them feel sorry for you, to make them team up with you, to bind them to your side, to where now you're looking around and other people in the village are looking around like, how is this happening? Spell work, voodoo, black magic, that's what's happening. That's what they're using to create the illusion, to keep people bound, to keep people on their sides. This is all the stuff I'm learning about dealing with these principalities. And I thank goodness for the teachers that have been brought to me, these spiritual women who have been brought into my life to teach me about these things. I'm learning. So some of the information that I am sharing with you, I am learning from my spiritual teacher. I will give credit where credit is due. Some of these thoughts don't come from me. They come from what I have learned from my teachers. I had no clue until the Lord said, I'm giving you some clues. So how desperate are you to be a grandmother? How desperate are you to be an auntie? How desperate are you to be an uncle? How desperate are you to be a grandfather that you would sit here and team up with a woman who has come after your own sons? Women who come after your sons, who look at your sons and prey on your sons. I hear it all the time. You hear it all the time. Well, even though the tests say that I ain't the father, that's still my son. Yeah, that's still my son. And in the court class, I'm like, brother, no, that's not. I don't care. I'll be in the minority. I don't care what any of you all say or what you think. I'm going to keep it 100. Brother, no, that's not. No, it's not. I don't care about no emotions. I don't care how long you were there. At best, you were just there and you did the right thing because that's what you felt you needed to do, because that's what you were led to believe. So I get it, but that's still not your son. That's somebody else's son. Why do people want to tell lies? Why do people want to sit there and say, after all the emotional damage, stay? Yeah, you're doing the right thing by staying in something that was created for your downfall and to bring harm to your legacy and to bring a lie to your legacy and for you to never have any money and for you to always have to be vibrating low and thinking of ways to get money and all of this and be subjected to her abuse and her lies and her playing games with you and then her going behind your back and really still dealing with the real father. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, let's clap for that. Clap for it. Applaud him for staying in something that he was never designed to stay in. Make it make sense. And some of you will say, look at God. What? Look at God deliver him. Look at God getting ready to expose it. Look at what God is getting ready to do. Yeah, he's learning a lesson. But if it's meant for him to walk away, he's going to walk away because there's nothing anybody can do about it. At some point, that witchcraft will return to sender, boomerang back to you, be reversed, mirroring to you, and cause many towers in your life. So when you clap for a man saying, that's my son anyway, that's my daughter anyway, I'm going to stay, you're not doing the right thing. Now, this is where some of you will get mad. Don't care. Go listen to another show. Are we talking about being truthful? Are we talking about spirit and truth? Are we talking about men having a right to live freely in this country? Are we having a right? Are we talking about men having the right to liberty and the pursuit of happiness? Are we? Because how is he going to be happy being lied to? And then in this particular world where men can't cry, where you're shunned if you go to get therapy, where there's no place to go to talk to, no safe zones, no safe zones, but a whole lot of danger zones. And where the danger zone is applauded and where legislation backs up the danger zone, but there's nothing to protect the safety zone, get out of here. He has a right to walk away. That's still not his child. He was deceived. But y'all don't want to talk about deception. You want to then focus on, well, what about the baby? Well, what about her thinking about that? Take it back to home. Hit the root. She committed the spiritual felony. She did the deception behind his back. He thought he was only one. I ain't here to talk about his naivety. I'm not here to talk about how gullible he is. I'm just here to say he thought he was the only one. She said he was the only one, but he's not. Y'all even go so far. She got your toes. She got your toenails. She got that one hair that you got on your hair, on your, you know how you got that little, you know how you, well, she got your Kool-Aid. She got your Nikes. She got your sweatsuits. She got your toothbrush in her hand. That's the only thing you can say because she don't have anything else that's biologically relatable to this man. Y'all be pushing the envelope. She looked like your great grandmama. She got your fish's eyes. She got the same crunch that your Doritos do. Just making up all kind of stuff to push the illusion. And when that's not enough, you find him with spell work. Dang. Whew. The village. Protecting the scandal. Everybody knows that these are not this man's child. Everybody does. But the people who have the spell work on him. Well, sometimes the man will know, but he just can't run. He can't run because she didn't put some spell work on your feet. You can't go anywhere. Then when you got your family helping perpetuate the lie or people in the village helping perpetuate the lie, how does a man fight his way out? What is he supposed to do? It's better to just can't beat him, join him, right? But that's the only father they've ever known. That's once again her fault. That's her fault. That's the woman's fault. That's the man who really knows he's a daddy's fault. That's the government's fault by saying you got to take care of it because you know, this is what it is. You signed. You married her. Even if they were born out of wedlock. But I don't care. They need to know their real daddy. They do. They need to know their real father. Children need to know why they look like who they look like. They need to put it together. You act like they don't look in the mirror and be like, something ain't right. Well, I'm going to keep it pushing because, it is what it is. It's just some of you even put spell work on your children. But I'm understanding that a lot of the spell work is starting to return to sender and backfire and reverse. And a lot of towers are coming. A lot of exposure is happening because the Most High God said, enough is enough. That's what I was trying to tell you, women. It's better to come out and confess and instead of letting it hit. I don't play. This has been a real conversation today. Brothers, keep praying. Keep the ones who are supposed to come out of this. You keep praying. You keep fighting. You keep seeking what you need to seek. Keep doing the energy work as far as clearing negative energy. You're going to be okay. Learn this lesson. Please value your penis. Stop having sex with these women recklessly. Because she thick. Okay? 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 Stop being so pressed for vagina that you will hit anything. Stop ejaculating inside of these women. Stop it. Avoid being the victim of paternity fraud by not engaging what creates children. There is a solution for the pollution. Some of you don't want to hear this because you've got to get your rocks off. You're pressed for vagina. You don't know how to contain your penis and don't have any market value on yourself, and you vibrate low, so that's why. Some of you, when I said that, you were like, yeah, you're the ones who always end up on Maury and in court trying to fight your way out of things. And you're the ones who keep getting your tires slashed. You're the ones who keep getting your wages garnished. You're the ones who keep having to deal with all the foolery and the effery and have all of these declines in your life because she thick and you keep saying she, I'm going to get mine. She. Yeah. I don't like to wear condoms. Okay. All right. You like to wear caskets? You like to wear court appearances? You like to wear child support? Do you like to wear wage garnishment? Do you like to wear, yo, daddy ain't shit for the rest of your life? Huh? You want to get in an argument with her for like, that's why you ain't the daddy anyway. With your stupid ass. All of that. Some of you are being verbally abused right now by your baby mama, and them ain't even your kids. It's not funny. Some of you right now, you ain't seen a new pair of shoes since 1996. I had to let that sit home. That's for you. There comes a time where the village has to be under citizen's arrest in the spirit. We're out of control because we have to feel good all the time. And that sex is a weapon when used inappropriately. when used to gain money, when used to defraud the government, when used to lie about paternity. Some of you have children on the other side of town and you don't raise them, and you've got children in your home that you're raising. You're out of line. You're out of line. Some of you got children living right across the street from you and you are out of line. Some of your children don't even know that they're half brothers and sisters and they're sleeping with each other. Out of line. Do you understand how far the foolery continues to go? Out of line. How can anybody go on Ancestry.com and do any type of lineage check or do any type of family tree when this isn't the real father? How do you create a family tree with a man who's not the real father? Make it make sense. How do you fill out any type of health make all these things make sense? You can't. Sir, brother, you have a right to leave. These are not your children if they're not your children. You have a right to have your own children. You do. So you seek out the help that you need. There are advocates growing daily. There are community organizations growing daily that will help you. And you repent and change your life. Value yourself. Learn the lesson. Help other men learn what paternity fraud is. Help other men learn that they don't even need to be going down that avenue. Learn about celibacy. Help young brothers learn that they need to be careful because just having sex could get them in a situation to where they're raising children that isn't theirs. It has to be all gamuts. It just can't be if you have unprotected sex, you can get pregnant or you can catch an STD. No, you can catch paternity fraud. No, you can catch child support scams. No, you can catch a false lineage. Somebody needs to spill the nuggets so that you will be delivered. Some of you. So for those of you who protect the scandals, protect the scams, protect the liar, force men to take care of children that are not theirs, shun them if they don't, towers are coming to your life. I hope every man that has had to pay child support for children that are not theirs gets every single dime back, every dollar back. I hope you win your court cases. I hope that you get that money back. I hope you are vindicated. I hope you are set free. And as I said in the beginning, don't use the paternity test that I paid for to perpetuate your lies. Don't use that paternity test to perpetuate your lies. I have a whole paper here that explains that something did not occur right. Something went far left. That there is some fraudulent activity taking place. So don't use that. Get your own. And make sure that all the fathers show up. All of them. All of them. There has to be legislation that is immediately written up and passed that protects men from this type of crime. People protect animals more than they protect men and their rights. Men have rights. We will not shun men. This is not a woman's world. This is not a man's world. This is the Lord's world. Now put it in its proper perspective and get in your right roles and stop trying to dominate in places where you have no power and authority. Stop creating organizations that perpetuate this type of behavior, that stick up for the women and then don't have any type of love for the men and make men feel like crap when they want to stand up and speak for themselves and want to walk away. Stop using children as a bait to keep men in situations where the Lord has told them to walk away. Stop telling your children that you won't include them in wills, your son in wills, and you'll have nothing to do with them if they walk away from these children's lives. Stop trying to force yourself to be a grandparent when it's not your time. Be a mama bear, be a papa bear. Protect your children from these ravenous women. Protect your sons from ravenous women, whether it be at a young age or an old age. Have your children's back. Go through the lengths to prove it. Protect your lineage. Protect your last name. That's what I'm saying. Protect your last name. Don't let anybody have it that's not supposed to have it. Adoption is different. We're not talking about that tonight. Protect it. You're going to end up with your teeth knocked out, lady. Just like that lady. You don't know at any time that he has that child with him that he could go and take a test, and the next thing you know. But like I said, if there's an alleged fathers, all fathers need to be tested. All. Yeah, it's a strong conversation this evening, but you get where I'm coming from and you get where you need to leave from. The culture climate on the Sister Speak show. Paternity fraud. Paternity test. Exposing fraud. Child support scams. Women who lie. And the villages that protect the scandals. You can't stop these children from looking like who they gonna look like. You can't. Some of you are going to come out of this and some of you aren't. Some of you are going to stay stuck. Some of you are going to be delivered. But a warning to the village. If you are helping women commit paternity fraud and child support fraud, you're going to experience some towers in your life that are going to be back to back to back to back to back. You can't escape. The tables are going to turn on you. One day, your secret is going to be exposed. One day, you're going to be found out. One day, those children are going to begin to change and puberty is going to set in and they're going to start to look like who you have been trying to keep a secret. One day is coming. One day you may not be able to collect all that child support. One day ruling may actually come and manifest, and now you've got some questions to answer. One day you may have to pay back all that welfare and all that food stamp money because you lied. One day. One day you'll be exposed for all of the psychosis that you committed. One day you'll be exposed for your scandal. Do you want your teeth knocked out? Do you want to be bruised and battered? Do you want to be killed? Do you want to be jumped? You want to be stabbed? Do you want to lose your livelihood? You want your house to be set on fire? You want to go missing? You want to be pistol whipped? You want to be kidnapped? Held hostage? You want to go missing, never, ever, ever, ever to be found again? Keep playing around with this paternity fraud and child support fraud and witchcraft. Keep playing with men and their birthright and watch what happens. These things happen. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, you're wishing all that. Nah, shut up. Shut up. Watch the 48 hours. First 48, watch Dateline. You keep watching all these documented events of what happens when you do wrong. And you play with people and how people who don't have the balance energy snap. Or you could end up meeting somebody who politely makes a phone call and just tells you, look, I took a paternity test and you've been lying to me. I know I'm not the father. How could you do this to me? And then you just wait for the reaction. And then you just do what you need to do. to get it handled. And then you see that there's favor upon you because you did it the right way. I don't condone the violence. I'm just saying you're going to get it because you're playing around with the wrong thing. You're playing around with the Lord. You're lying about lineage and birthright. And that's something that the Lord don't play about. Does not. So how could you even think he's giving you favor and saying what you're doing is okay? It's not going to end well for you. So at your next gender reveal, should you be having a paternity reveal too? Every time you collect that child support from the wrong man, just know you got a day coming. Because in the village, there's a code of conduct. And you have been committing spiritual felonies. Get ready to be subpoenaed in the spirit. And get ready to do the time. There's a day of victory coming. Because the rules and the codes of conducts always prevail. I thank you for listening to The Culture Climate. I'm your host, Sister Speak. Tonight was a very serious topic, strong language, strong content. And you've been informed. All video was for educational purposes only, to provide proof and wisdom and reality and actuality to this offense. Let there be legislation that protects these men. Let there be a light shown on the injustice of justice. And let there be reformation. May you have the strength tonight, today, whenever you listen to this, to tell the truth about the paternity of your children, sis. And may there be grace and mercy afforded to you for choosing to have a change of heart and wanting to correct what is wrong. May there be a grace and mercy period for you. To those of you who are going to still play in that lava, it is what it is. Brother, before you get ready to go and hit that, have sex with her, you better think about it. Is this something that you want to deal with for the rest of your life? Okay. You've been a wonderful listening audience. Thank you for your time. Until we speak again, you have been listening to the Sister Speak Show. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. The Lord is my rock, my fortress, and my deliverer, my God, my rock in whom I take refuge, my shield, and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. Return to sender all negative energy, all demonic energy, all spell work, all voodoo, all black magic. It is all reversed. You're going to be all right. Be encouraged.